Hello fellas, so something new I want to try. I recently received a gift of a GoPro 7. So basically I'm gonna make a video of say printing and putting together a canvas while having the camera attached to my head. I know it sounds pretty silly, but I think it's a great point of view because you'll be able to see exactly how I'm assembling it and doing it. So let's see how it works. Okay, so I have 3 canvases printed and now I'm gonna do liquid lamination. So I'm just removing any possible dust from the canvases. This is acrylic 4-inch brush from Home Depot. And I'm using some thicker paper underneath. Okay. This is the liquid. It's a Sunset satin coating by LexJet. Alrighty, let's see. And you need a high density foam roller for this. Harbor Freight Tools or Home Depot has them. Okay, I'm gonna saturate it a little bit. And I will be doing 2 passes that are crossing each other. So one pass, say this morning I'm gonna do this direction. Here we go. The layer doesn't have to be too thick, but at the same time make sure you have no gaps. And obviously I'm doing overlapping stripes. Sometimes I get these little clunks of the glue, and I think that's because it's been setting for a little bit. And I think what I might start doing with this is run it through some kind of a mesh to eliminate all those little clunks of glue. I mean, they're easy to pick up and remove if you spot it, but it's better not to have them at all, obviously. Then I kind of run through to even out the seams between the stripes. Okay, so all 3 canvases are laminated. I did the second coat. I didn't film it because I was doing it at 3:30 in the morning, but I did buy and use a strainer to run the coating through it, and it actually did help, so I do recommend using a strainer. So we have 2 layers, one done this direction, the other one done this direction. They're both dry. There was about, let's say, 10 hours of drying time between the layers and after the last layer. So now we're gonna assemble canvases. I think I'm gonna start with this one. This is the easiest one. So if you can see, it has so-called soft mirrored edge. So the image reflects and blurs. But since we have this, we must have very exact positioning of the frame, okay? And I have a crop marks, so that should help me a lot. This canvas has the same concept. It has the mirrored edge, but unfortunately it does not have a crop marks because they didn't fit. So this will be more complicated, but I'll show you how to figure out the line and how to move it to the back of the canvas. Okay, so when we do have enough space to put crop marks like these, on the canvas, everything becomes really straightforward because the crop mark indicates where the edge line is, and all we have to do is move these lines on the back of the canvas. And the easiest way that I found is you take your knife and you cut through these lines precisely, right through the crop marks. So here we go. Now you turn the canvas inside out. I'm gonna use my straight edge because it's more precise. And now I lift this corner up. I lift the corner up on this side, and here you go. This is my line. Take a pencil, score the line. Here you go. So now this line exactly matches the line on the back. So I'm gonna do the same here. Okay, here we go. So we have lines here, and now when we will be dropping this frame behind, I can exactly see where I have to position it. So we're gonna leave this canvas like it is, and we're gonna move to assembling the 20 by 31 because that one's a little bit more complicated. Okay, so we're gonna start with finding the edge and moving it on the other side of the canvas. So this one is gonna be a little bit tougher because we don't really see where is it. So I'm gonna try to find a reference point, like for example this. I can precisely see that this is where the mirror starts, right? And I'm using the straight edge. That will help me to make sure my line is straight. So for example, like this. And move it downward. Okay, I think I got it. Okay, so what we're gonna do is cut through the edge like this to indicate the line. Alright? Gonna do the same on the other side. Okay, so I have the reference points in all corners except for this one, because this one's too, well, I mean I can still figure out right from this line I guess, but 3 is enough. So now we turn it upside down and we have our cutouts. Now from here it gets a little bit easier. So you have our cutouts like this, and what I do, I put my straight edge or any kind of ruler that fits. I lift the corners and I move my edge until it hits it like this. So now I'm gonna get my pencil and mark the line. Here we go. Gonna do the same on this side. Now once the canvas is upside down, I prefer moving it with a cutting board, just so I don't, scuff it too much. Though it's really hard to do, but it's still doable if you keep moving it around. So, okay, one edge, second edge, okay, and running a pencil line. So we have a mark where the canvas has to go around the edge, right? We have it on the back. So now it's a good time to start making a frame. So these are stretcher bars by GoFrame. I like them. They're very easy to assemble, fairly easy to use. Let's see. These corners, they come with a starter kit. and then you just keep reusing them. So here's my trick that's not described in GoFrame manual. Instead of peeling this line completely, I'm just gonna peel it a little bit. Why? So this adhesive tape doesn't dry prematurely. Okay, it's a tiny fraction of a time, but it still makes, I think it still makes a difference. Plus I can use this tape when I'm pressing these down, so I'm not actually touching the tape itself. There is a YouTube video explaining how to build those, and it's a good one. I learned from that, but it doesn't cover a lot of, so to speak, nuances. You know, a lot of little things that make difference between okay canvas and perfect canvas. Okay, so pressing those in, make sure they're sitting properly. Now is a good time to remove the backing tape. Alright. Okay. And the way these corners are built, see, it's running freely. It's not attached. So I'm gonna put a weight on the canvas so it doesn't move, because we don't want it to slide back and forth. Okay. Now is the tricky part. Sometimes it takes me minutes, sometimes it takes me more than a minute. We have to align our canvas with the lines. How I do it, I pretty much eyeball it. I want to see that line, the black line, against these edges, and I want to see it fairly perfect. And there's no way to get it like super duper extremely perfect, especially because we also eyeballed the lines because we didn't have the crop marks, right? So the goal here is to get it as close as you can. I also gonna kind of smooth out the canvas. The first times I was super nervous about like, how do I get this straight? How do I get this super straight? And I tried several different methods, and the making the lines, because they have these edges and there is a way how you can cross-reference, but that I tried that method, that didn't work unfortunately. So making lines I think is the best way. Okay, I think this is as close as I can get to the truth. And what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put the weight, the bigger weight, at least on one, so it stops moving. Okay, and here we go. Alrighty. Taking the corners out. We won't need these guys through the rest of the process. Okay, so you can see the lines are, you know, it's sitting right where it should be on the lines, plus minus a tiny hair which won't be visible. Okay, so now the cutting part. So we have to trim the excess. This is where the fun starts, and you need a very steady hand and a very precise knife. I'm using these exact knives. They're very sharp. I think it's a carbon steel. And what I do every time I start cutting, I use a fresh blade, and you can snap it off. This one's fresh, I can see. This is actually a brand new blade. Okay, I'll post a link, and everything I'm using here, I'll do my best to post the links where I purchased it. Most of it is from Amazon. Okay, so cutting. I usually start like this. I'm a lefty, so consider that. I'm a lefty. You might be doing it your own way. The only way you can do this so smooth is using a cutting mat beneath. There's no way you can cut that precise using just a table. Okay. The other trick is practice on the leftover canvases or pieces of a canvas or material. Don't start with like your first attempt with cutting actual canvas. Just get yourself a, the leftover piece and practice. Okay. Also, when you shop at GoFrame, they have some very interesting knife that comes with it. It sits somewhere in my closet. I don't use it. It's like a wedge cutting tool. I tried it. Unfortunately, it didn't work for me. Just simply didn't work. The cuts are not precise, and I wasn't a big fan of those. Here I have to move canvas a little bit because my self-healing mat is not big enough. Just a tiny here. Okay. But whenever I can, I'm rotating the whole thing. Okay. So this is our last side. I have a few rules for myself when I'm building the canvases. I never make them at the end of the day when I'm tired, because then I'm very prone to make mistakes. I like making them in the morning, but it's personal. I think it's like shaving. Some people prefer shaving at the end of the day, some people at the beginning. Okay, so we have the excess trimmed. You can see that. Same here. So now we have to do the corners. Now, corners is very intricate part. So you start, but you don't start right between. You'll leave like a little space. I think corners is something you just you master it over the time. It doesn't come from the beginning. You have to get that feeling. Okay. 2 more. You have to have this feeling how and when and where to start and how to go. Okay, so I have 4 corners done. Now the part that I once in a blue moon I do forget, and that's really important, gluing the corners. Not the corners but the inner edges. So you take your glue. This glue comes with a starter kit. It's a Lenico neutral pH. You can get it on Amazon as well. I purposely do not run the glue until the very edge, because sometimes it will run out when you fold it. Okay, so like this. And then I use a cotton swab to smooth it out a little bit. Now what we're gonna need is 4 of these guys. They come with stretcher bars. I just sort them separately. Gonna need my fancy tiny hammer. I'm gonna need the weight. Okay, let's go. So we're stretching a corner like this, and I'm using the knife to cut the excess. I'm doing this part. When I stretch the corner, I try to find the golden middle between. See, if you stretch too much this way, you'll have a gap. If you stretch too much this way, it will what I'm doing, I'm stretching it in general, like overall, and I'm trying to align it with this outer edge. If you stretch too much, you might end up ripping it. If you stretch too little, you have excess of the canvas. There we go. Got two edges. Rotate the canvas. Two more edges. I know in previous videos I've been using gloves, but I think it's optional because the canvas is covered, and as long as your hands are, not super sticky, and obviously they have to be clean in general, you're fine with not using the gloves. We got all four corners done. Now here's the tool that I'm using that's not really related to printmaking industry at all, and I'll do my best to find it on internet. These were actually from the kit for fixing cell phones and prying the screens of electronics, like a little wedge tool. Now you'll see in a second or in a minute where am I using it. Okay, the brackets, and this is the other thing that main video doesn't show. When you put them inside the hole, if they look a little bit outside, they have a chance of going through the wood and puncturing your canvas on the outside. I had it a couple times, and that's super unpleasant because you literally just ruin your whole canvas. So I'm pressing them inside a tiny bit. Okay, let's start. The first corner is usually the easiest. Okay, you lift it up and see, this is where your tool becomes handy. You see this? And you can literally, with your tool, you can press it in to form a perfect corner. Now I use the bracket, and see, this is what I was saying. Sometimes this bracket will just go through the wood to the outside, and it will come out right here, which is not desired outcome. Not nailing it all the way in, not yet. And I like to work opposite corners because I think it's easier. Okay, so second corner, put it together, lift it up. It's okay to lift it up. See, this corner came perfect by itself. When you cut it real good, maybe except for this little notch, when you cut them nice, they come in together nice. Okay, pushing it in. Okay, might just work from this way. So mainly this tool is perfect for making corners. Now I'm taking the weight out because I'm gonna wedge it in, and see, it opens that side as well. So see, this one didn't come out good. See, it didn't fold right. So I lift it up, I push it in. There we go. I mean, you can do it with your nail or some other tool, maybe a plastic like pry tool. See, now it's perfect. I hope you guys see it. Okay. What I like about GoFrame, though it's not the cheapest system, especially if you're making canvases in bulk, it's the simplicity. Once you get a hold of it, you get a use of it. And second part, I think this is the most perfect corners you can ever create, unless you're using like a professional grade stretching machine. And see, this corner actually came perfect by itself. I don't have to do anything with it. All right, so just push it in. That's, by the way, that's a rare case. Usually I have to work out all 4 corners. Now, what I'm gonna do before I hammer them all in, I wanna make sure that they're sitting evenly. Like that one side is not pushing over the other. Okay, so they're all ready. We're gonna alrighty, we got 4 sides in. Now let's see what's the next step. I think the next step is just turn it around and I'll make a quick inspection. Okay, looks good. It's not stretched yet. You see it's sagging pretty bad. You can see it, but we're gonna fix it. The other good test I do, especially with large canvases, when you put it like this, it shouldn't rock back and forth. See, it's sitting flat. I don't have any movement. If it is, you can kind of either twist it, but the key of having the canvas not rocking is making sure these edges are sitting flat. And yes, you can take the bracket out, like, you know, pry it out and reposition it if you have to. Okay, the next step, the corners and the center line, center bar. These little bars come with your stretcher bars. These I can't remember. I'm trying. I think they come with your middle bars. When you they have to be ordered separately, and they come per each one. You get a pair. Okay, so we have 4 of these. I usually sign one in the corner, but this canvas is, the photograph is not mine. I'm making it for my fellow photographer Joe High, so I'm not gonna sign it. If it's my own, you know, photograph produced by Danko Imaging, I use a Sharpie like this. It's an acid-free Sharpie pen, and I sign one of the bars, and then I have my canvas signed. I think in this case it's not necessary. Now this step is also not described. That's something I decided to do on my own, not described in the official video. So what I do, I glue the indent where my line has to go. And then I also use a hammer to straighten this line, this piece. I think that's important because say if the humidity changes and temperature, you know, these stretcher bars, they might shrink a little bit or expand, and nobody wants them to fall off. Okay, I got 2 of them. Okay, perfect. So the next step would be put the stretcher bar, but we have to figure out the middle. Where's our pencil? Here we go. So what do you have here? 30 inches. The middle would be at 15 precisely, right here. Same for this side. 30 inches of the canvas. Another tip, if you're using a tape measure, get yourself a small one. You don't need those badass huge Milwaukee tape measures. Make sure you tape the inside. Okay, so now we have the marks. This little piece, it's your middle bar, stretcher bar holder. You push it in like this. You push it in here. This will you mark. Okay. These stretcher bars are very precisely cut, but sometimes they're a tiny bit too, see, like this one. It's really not doing the wedging job. See, I actually needed it to stretch. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use this leftover piece of canvas. I'm gonna put it right in here. Okay, I usually prefer wedging on the bottom. You have two options. You can wedge it on the top and on the bottom. So I use this little piece from the inside. Now we're gonna glue it. And that usually adds that missing. See, now it's going in firmly. And I can actually probably use another piece to go with it on this side, because we want this middle bar to actually stretch the canvas like this. Here we go. Perfect. If you want to put a little line of glue on it, go ahead and do it, just to kind of make sure this bar won't go anywhere. Use a knife to cut the excess off. And same thing, we're gonna glue it here. Alright, so stretcher bars are in, corner bars, the metal bar is in. So now when we lift it, we should hear a sound like this. That's very good. That's a good stretch. I like it. It's like, sounds like a little drum. Okay, now that's the trick that's not shown in the official video, and I think that's what makes the difference between these edges. So what the problem was is these edges, see, like here, they start peeling over time, and I heard a lot of recommendations of leaving excess of the canvas and wrapping it around this and stapling it. That's a great option. I don't see why not. It's just the problem is with the 20 by 30, I don't have that luxury. I don't have any, I don't have that much left. It looks like I do, but it's like right on the edge. But anyways, my workaround is using this tool, this roller, and you just press it in. You take your time and even amount of pressure, and you just press it in like this. Okay. And like I said, never had issues with the canvases peeling after I do this. Maybe because it's pressure activated adhesive. When I was long time ago working with vinyls, applying them to vehicles, there were so-called pressure activated adhesive, which means it releases the adhesive part only when you put certain pressure on it. I couldn't find any technical specs for this adhesive, but it could be the case. Some of them are heat activated, some of them are pressure activated, some of them they're air dry. But doing this usually helps. All right, now if that would be a final or official video, this would be it. They would say, okay, this is your canvas, go enjoy it. But we have two problems. First of all, we have no means of hanging it. Second of all, if we hang it, it will scratch the wall because of these brackets. So here is my solution. We have these hinges. It's a specific canvas hinges. They're not easy to find. They kind of show up here and there and then they disappear. So whenever I see them on Amazon or eBay, I buy them in bulk. Sometimes you can find them on in Walmart, but not always. And we'll need this and we'll need a screwdriver. So make sure we have the top of the canvas and you already have your mark, right? And you install it like this right on your mark. So this is a perfect canvas hanger. I love it because it's flush. So here you go. Alright, so this will fix the problem with how do you hang it on the wall professionally, or, you know. Що там, Міш? And the second problem is if you hang it on the wall like this, it will be so flush, which is fine, but it might end up scratching walls for some people, and I think that's not the desirable outcome. So the solution I came with is these rubber dots or squares. You have two options. You can either put it somewhere here. I prefer using 2 per corner and putting them right on the end of the stretcher bar, of the corner bar. They're super cheap. So, and I use them on the frames, on the larger frames as well. And you know, things like this, I think they add this professional touch to the canvas. I'm not too concerned that the back is open. You know, I know some people say, well, it doesn't look pretty. You should, like, you know, you can technically take like a thick craft paper and staple it on the back. It's quite personal. I think personally I like seeing the back of the canvas, and sometimes when I show it to people in my studio and I kind of feature the fact that, hey, I made them myself, take a look, and like I turn it around and people go like, oh wow, this looks really cool, you know, that they can see the guts. So now this is the finished product, and I hope you can see it at the camera. Just look at these perfect, super perfect corners. I love them. These corners are my favorite. They really perfect. Okay, the last touch I think would be getting a brush like this, clean it out, and so you can see we very precisely did hit the edge. So there's some pieces here. Alrighty, here you go. 20 by 30 canvas made on LexJet satin reserve media, covered with satin sunset coating, assembled with a GoFrame kit with the plain mirrored edge.